All right, we're recording. Manage all of the participants. All right, I'm going to mute you all and use the chat box. Okay, so today we're going to go a little deeper into Docusign, and I'm going to share my screen with you. Share. Okay, so can you, Beth, can you give me a high sign? Let me know that you see my screen. That's my command screen. Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. So I just wanted to send out a couple of reminders. Number one, we are having a challenge with the Docusign accounts for the Ocean Living Market Center. So if anyone is on here or talks to anybody from Ocean Living, right now they are all attached to the Monmouth Ocean Market Center. They do have access to documents. We are in the process of fixing that and getting you onto the correct market center. I would say you can sample and test out some of your loops. Well, we're not calling them loops anymore. In Docusign, it will be called a room. But for now, just give us a couple more days to get this done, and then you'll have full access connected to the proper market center. I did have a couple of questions in the last couple of days in reference to how to fill out documents and how to get your Docusign account activated. I did post a Marty Miller video on our Facebook page. I believe that was on the family page, and you can reference that. And that's essential. One thing that I will tell you is that, number one, you have to use your @KW email address when you are activating your account. And number two, it's super important that you go through every single action that they ask you to do, because there's several steps to the activation process. You start, and I will show you, when you start over in Command, just get the toolbar. When you start in Command, go to your name, hit the Settings button, and it'll open up the screen of all the settings that you are attached to and the integrations that you can connect. Mine already says disconnect account because my account is connected. If you have not activated your account, it would look like this: connect account. All right, it's going to then send a message to your KW email. You have to go to your KW email, click the activate button and accept, set up your logins and your security question, and then you have to go back, follow the links and go back over to Docusign and integrate it all. That way it's all connected properly. Okay, that's my first thing. Now, in order to get to Docusign, the pathway when you are working with a client is to start with adding a contact. And you add the contact by starting over here in contacts. Most of you have been in my classes before and you know how to add a contact. It's very simple. And if it's okay with everybody, I'm going to move faster here because we've already had these conversations. If you need to know how to add a contact later, we'll dive into that further. You can text me later. Once you add the contact, then you can add the opportunity. And the opportunity is the handshake. If you open up the toolbar, the handshake says opportunities. Okay, I hear somebody. I need to mute you all again. 58 participants. Okay. All right, so when you start an opportunity, you simply create opportunity and you answer the questions. Whichever market center you are in, it should come up with your own market center. I'm attached to all four, so my primary is West Monmouth. If you are in the business center of Central Monmouth or Spring Lake, you're going to use the parent market center for now. The listing opportunity type, this opportunity type is a listing, or I can choose buyer, landlord, or tenant, okay? And that will show up in the pipeline accordingly. The owner is me. Those of you that are on a team, you will most likely see that the team is the owner, and then there's an assignee, which is the agent on the team. That will look different for teams, and the Rainmakers have a call today at 3 o'clock for that. Client, this is where you insert the client, and the client has to be in your contacts already. That's why step 1 was add the contact. So if I added Greg, I just start typing his name, and then he pops up, and I click the button. The other item that I would like to make mention of is right here, the opportunity name. It automatically populates the opportunity name as your client dash the type of opportunity it is. If you are working with a listing, please do us a favor and add the address of the property. And then you can add your client's name, and that way you can find them. Okay? I hear people must have popped in. Let me mute you all again. Okay. So once you do that, you add the commission rate. Oh, and also if you have custom tags, I always do training class. So if you have custom tags, choose those and then choose your commission rate. And if you're working with a listing, you likely know what commission rate you're going to charge on your side. If you're on a buyer side, you would most likely have 2.5% on your side. If the area that you're working in is different, you can choose that and change it later. All right. And when you're done with that, you just create. So I'm just going to cancel this because I have one that I'm working on. All right. Your pipeline up here is listings. These are all the listings that I have in the system of my pipeline in the different phases. And here are the buyers. The beauty of this is that it gives you a potential and a probable income. And at the bottom, it will tell you if you were to close all of the properties that you have in opportunities, you would potentially earn $170,000. That's what I have in the system right now. If I closed all the properties that were at least in the under contract phase, I would earn $102,000, and that's a GCI, not a net. Okay. Let me go to the listing that I was working on, and I wanted to work with you on. Let me go back. Another way to find things is if you go to all opportunities right here, and it's in a list format. All right. Where's the training? If I want to filter things, I can filter them by the tags. Apply. Of course, the one I thought I was going to use right now is hiding on me. Beth, while I'm looking for these, are there any questions that I need to attend to? And you would have to unmute yourself.
Hi, Dawn, are we now in Docusign?
No, we're not in Docusign. Let me just be clear. Okay. We are in Command. Okay, so
we're still in Command.
So, yes. So and then I'm not sure who I'm speaking of to.
Mary Beth.
Command. Oh, Mary Beth. Command is where your compliant documents are going to live so that the compliance department can access them and review them. They are only going to look at documents that are fully executed. Okay. I will show you how to get to Command. Just give me one more moment.
The questions on the table,
There it is.
If I could just catch up to everybody.
Go ahead.
Dot Loop will be going away. I believe the date is June 1st, Dawn?
That's our deadline for the agents, yes.
Okay, so start using Command today. Marty Miller is an agent in Texas that runs a great YouTube video series called Command 66 Day Challenge 3.0. Very short videos. Open up your Command, open up YouTube, watch the video, stop the video, do what he says, and you'll learn Command inside and out. Mm-hmm. Just for the new agents, I point out that GCI stands for Gross Commission Income. And an opportunity is your pipeline of business, both buy and list side. It's just a different word. Instead of what we used to use in .loop, an opportunity is where your business sits. So you're going to do buy and list sides. Now we're all caught up.
Okay, thank you, Beth. All right, so now that I found the opportunity
Wait,
that I wanted
excuse
to
me,
show
I'm
you
sorry.
today.
Sorry, can you give me who
can you
that
put-
person? I just want to write down the
Please
person who we
enter
see
that
the
in the
YouTube.
chat box, please.
Okay.
you.
It's in the answers are in the chat box. So if you look over on the chat, you'll see Marty Miller's information.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to continue. So this is the opportunity that I've created for today. Now, opportunity is the same word that we use for a file, a folder, a loop, as you all have been accustomed to, and also a room. They all mean the same thing. It's your client is working on this file, and in Command, it's called an opportunity. So those are the synonyms that you will be accustomed to. This is the detail section of the opportunity. It has the client and the name of the opportunity. I had Dana in here before, and also I can select the listing. Once it goes into the MLS, I can select the listing from KWLS and pull that through. More importantly today, I wanted to get into the documents section. So click that button, and again, this is where your compliant documents are going to be uploaded, and they can be uploaded either from your local desktop. You can upload them from Google Docs, Google Drive, Loop right now, or Docusign. There are multiple ways of getting them in there, okay? The first thing is, in order for you to get to a room in Docusign, you need to click this button over here where it says Start a Transaction. And I have my command system attached to both .loop and Docusign. So when I hit this arrow, it's going to show you there's an option here. And my option preference today is Docusign. So I'm going to click that. What's going to happen is that Command is going to tell Docusign that I've created an opportunity in Command, and it's going to connect Docusign in order to create a room on the other side. Right. And it does ask you to sign back in again.
Dawn,
Yes.
question about whether the chat box can stay up for a while after the class. I don't know the answer to that.
After I end the class, I'll leave a little time for Q&A at the end. And then after the class is over and the Zoom call is over, the chat box will go away. So you could either screenshot things or copy and paste them and put them into a Word doc while you're on the computer. Okay, so
Got it.
so you see that I'm now in Docusign. It tells me right here that I'm in Docusign Rooms. It tells me here that I've created this room name is called Training April 3rd, 2020. It was created today. It also shows me that I'm connected to my Keller Williams account, okay? The first thing you'd want to do when you are preparing documents is go to the details page on the side, on the left side of the page. This is just like in .loop where there was the view details button. And when I always taught .loop, the first thing I would tell you is go to the details page and fill out as much as possible, okay? And the way that you fill this out, you see you can't really type in here just yet. You have to hit the edit button on the side. So all these boxes, the more you fill in, the better off you'll be. And clearly we don't know the MLS ID as we are getting ready to sign the listing. So you can pop that in later on. The local currency is the US dollar. I'm going to use Dana as the seller. I can put her email address in here and her address. I'm just going to use 16 Linden Court. This is Greg's address and I use it constantly. Flemington. Okay. And as you see on the right side, the edit bar is all the people, and in the middle of the page on the left and middle is all the details of the house. So I don't know why they did it this way, but this is the way Docusign laid it out. List date, you can actually put a list date in here. Let's say it's tomorrow. Listing amount, let's say 400. Keep going, select the country, select the state, postal code. Okay. If there's a second seller, you'd put them here. We don't have offer details yet, so don't worry about that. Then we don't have a buyer to worry about on a listing form, and no closing details. You do have your listing agent 1, because that would be you. So make sure that you put your information in here. Okay. Home phone, that doesn't really exist. 8. Okay. Here, make sure that the email addresses are in the system so that when you go to have the, when you go to send it out for signatures, it will automatically go to their email and you don't have to retype it in. Okay, my company is, I wanted to change this to Keller Williams. West Monmouth, City, Morganville. Okay, country, US. I know that this seems like it takes a while, but the more you put into the form now, the less you'll have to add later. Listing agent 2, there is no listing agent 2. I don't know why that came up. So I would take that out. Okay, and now I've got my seller and my listing agent information in there, and I'm going to click save. Okay. Beth, any other questions up to this point?
I'm answering them on the chat, so I feel like we're kind of caught up.
Okay, good.
If you could just go walk through quickly verbally how you activate your DocuSign, or do you want to wait till the end for that?
We'll wait to the end. Number 1, I put that on the family page. That's in a video that Marty Miller did, and I can go back and do that later.
Okay.
On my page, because mine is already activated, it won't look the same as somebody who's not activated it yet. So
Okay.
the best
We'll
thing to
address
do
that.
is, yeah, go to Marty Miller. You have to start with your command settings. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is grab documents. And so you see this toolbar right here, documents, and you're going to add. Now, each market center is slightly different in the fact that you'll have different custom documents. And most all of the offices should have access to all the MLS systems and the New Jersey Association forms. So I'm going to click the add button, and I'm going to choose Docusign Forms. And it's holding up a bit. Sometimes there's a lag time. I've noticed that when I'm on Zoom and I'm in Docusign. So let me try this again. Okay, let me go to Documents, Add, Docusign Forms. And it's going to give me a problem now, isn't it?
Dawn,
Yes.
question about, are there going to be folders created that have all documents needed for each transaction, i.e. seller, buyer, renter?
Yeah, so if I get DocuSign going here, I can show you. I was just in it 2 minutes ago just to prepare. There are templates already created in West Monmouth, and I believe East Monmouth. They both have templates created for seller, for buyer, and leases.
Right.
And all of the New Jersey addendums are actually, oh, here we go. All the New Jersey addendums are in one folder. And now we've had a couple of updates with the coronavirus. So I do need to alter those form groups, and I'll show you that here. So in the library, the library has all of the documents you could ever want, and the form group is just the set of documents. So I'm going to show you the form group. Select here, and you'll see these are the ones that I've already templated for the offices. And I'm going to choose listing, where I represent the seller. And these are all the documents that I may need, except the coronavirus one, which I can go back and find later. I'll show you. I can select all of them and then add. So 7 forms are going to be added to my room. Okay, now I also know that I did not add the coronavirus addendum. So I can go to the add button, click Docusign Forms. If this holds back, I'm going to just pass by.
Dawn?
Yeah, go ahead, Beth.
So someone said, so the library is basically like our version now documents, and
That's
are the
right.
documents fillable?
They are, and you have to add them to a room to fill them.
And a
Okay.
room is what we used to call,
A loop. A loop, an opportunity, and a room are all the same thing. It's just the different software that you're using. So a loop was in .loop, an opportunity is in Command, and the room is in Docusign. Okay. Once you have added the documents to your room, they are in the form, the original form, and you need to fill them in. And you can click all of them or one at a time. So you can click one at a time by just clicking the top left corner, or you can select all. It's up to you. I'm going to uncheck this because I just want to show you. One of the questions that I've had is in reference to the MLS listing, which is the Monmouth Ocean MLS listing. Does not show up very pretty, but that's the one that MLS gave us. So you click that box, and in order to fill it out, you just go into the document. So the difference that you're going to notice is that your ability to fill it out here, and then you're going to create a separate area where you have the signature area placeholders. So this is just the filling out of the document, and then I'll show you how to add the signature spaces. All right, so if I wanted to, it didn't all come up because I didn't have a property address. The property address didn't come up in the same place. So there's an owner's address. I'll have to add that field. Or there's the property address. And you see that the tabs, they kind of go over themselves a little bit. Just work with it. This is all we could do with this particular document. Like I said, this doesn't look pretty. It does look better once it's all completed and all the boxes kind of go away and all you're left with are the letters. So do the best you can to fill in what you need to fill in. Okay. You see how you just click through or tab through, whichever you need to do to go through and fill in your document. Okay. The boxes, there's radio boxes that you can check here. You can only check one of these or one of these. So those are fillable.
Dawn,
Okay.
is there an autofill option?
Well, you notice that it auto-filled the information that I put in the details section already. So if I were in intent and went through the entire fillable area in the details section, more items would have shown up on the page. Okay. Once you have all of the items filled in that you need, which includes even this little one down here, 2.5% minus, oops, I haven't filled it in completely, so I'm just giving you an idea what that looks like. Okay. Make sure that the salesperson name is in here. Now, this is usually where we sign it. And it automatically fills in your name, and then you can have a signature place right next to it. Okay. Before I move into the next phase of signing the documents, any questions about filling out this particular form?
I have a quick question, not just about this form, but before, when the screen was split up into thirds, where you had the details of the transaction on the 2/3 of the left and the people on the right-hand side. I know that you said when you were scrolling through, you could put multiple sellers. I think there was room for 2. What happens if you have 3 or 4 in a state situation that has happened? Do we have the ability to add people?
I'm not sure, and if you have an estate with more people, make sure that all of them have to sign. If they don't all have to sign, then you're talking to the executor.
Mhm.
Okay.
So the question is it just limited to 2 buyers or 2 sellers?
At this point, yeah.
Okay.
I haven't learned another workaround for additional buyers and sellers.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so if you are done with this form, you just save and close. Now, here's the difference with another difference in Docusign that that you've been accustomed to with Dotloop is that when you're filling out the form, the people's names are adjusted onto the form where they're supposed to sign. What we now have to do is take this form and create an envelope. So over in the toolbar that shows up right here in the gray area, it shows up because I have a document checked. If I uncheck this document, that toolbar goes away. Okay, so no matter what document I check, the toolbar shows up. Once you're ready you're ready with all of your documents and you want your seller to sign everything, we're going to create an envelope, and that's basically setting up the email that you're going to send out the information. It seems a little backwards compared to what you're used to. So just click the pen and it's going to send you into an area where you're going to create the envelope. Okay. Envelope name, this is just for your own purposes. If this is like the first time you're sending out the listing agreement, you can say listing agreement 1 or listing agreement 16 Linden Court. Okay, and then here's the document that you used. If you forgot a document, you can go back to the room and you can add more documents. All right, add recipients. So this is important. You can add the room participants. You can add somebody with another email address, but if you want them to be, if you want the signatures to go in the places that are predetermined, click the pre-tagged roles. Okay, now it's asking me, who are the people that need to be in the document? Seller 1 was Dana. Listing broker, which is the agent. And I don't know why I'm in here twice. So let me put that one. And then add selected. Okay. Now you'll notice that there are boxes with numbers. Dana is the seller, so to speak. And I want the seller to sign the document first. If it doesn't matter to you who signs it first, second, or third, then just leave the ones here. It is set up so that you could have seller 1 sign first, and then it goes to seller 2, and then it goes to the agent. You can set that up, and you can use a 1, 2, and 3 in the boxes here. Okay. Over on the side, it says needs to sign, needs to view, receives a copy, or specify recipient. Okay. There's a more option if you need an authentication or you want to send a private message just to that person. Most of the time, you guys won't even need to change this. Okay. If you need to add somebody like a lender, or you want to send this out to the MLS, you could do it this way, add the recipient here. So here's the email subject. You're creating the email for this to go out once you prepare the signatures. So please sign listing agreement. Okay. Hi, Dana. Sign a listing agreement as discussed. And then you can sign it. Okay. You can put your last name down. All right. So this is just preparing the email and the people who actually have to sign. Now I'm going to click the next button over here. Before I go, Beth, can you let me know if there's anything else that needs to be addressed? Somebody may be talking, but I can't hear you.
Sorry, Dawn, I muted myself.
Oh, okay.
There's a couple of dot loop questions that we can address at the end of the class.
Good.
There is a question specific to loading information for a team into Command Docusign. Who should they contact for that? And there's a question of how do you change or add numbers? Sorry.
That's okay. So you just go in the box.
Oh.
And you can change it. So I want to change me to a number 2. That's it.
And can they send to everyone at the same time and the order doesn't matter?
Correct. They can send to everybody at the same time. The number would just be 1 for everybody. Okay. So as far as this page is concerned, we've gotten all the questions, right? This is just the setting up of the envelope that you're going to send to the parties involved.
And Dawn, just the question about a team, specific to how the team is loading in Command and Docusign. Who should they talk to about that?
So I know Ashley is really well versed in the Command and she works on a team. So she may be able to address any questions that we have in reference to that. The one thing that when you start the opportunity in Command, you will have parties in your team that are part of that transaction. So I would say it starts there. And I'd have to look and see how it translates into DocuSign. Since I'm not on a team, I haven't experienced the team version. You may be able to put them into DocuSign as members of the team. And I have to look at that. So we'll set that aside for another conversation. Okay, so I'm going to click the next button, and this is what's going to take me now to the part where I review the documents and make sure that all the signature fields are in the right place. Okay, so this looks very different from what you're used to in DocuSign. And the first thing I want you to notice is that the listing agreement itself and the way that it looks, it appears better on this page than it did in the previous page where it had all of the boxes. So the boxes go away and all of the words are just laid out in the proper place. I've talked to DocuSign about this particular form. This is the form and the format that they've received it from the Monmouth Ocean MLS. So there's nothing that they can do differently unless Monmouth Ocean has a better copy that they can provide. So that's what I wanted to let you know about this particular form. Over on the side, the left side up here, there's a drop down arrow, and you'll see that each person that is in the transaction that needs to sign the document has a different color, and that's pre-populated from DocuSign itself. They create that, and it's just so that you can see which places you're putting the right people. Okay, if you are going to have your seller sign in certain places, we want to make sure that you click the right person, and the colors will change down here. You do want to make sure that, yes, so it says here's where Dana needs to sign. And it came in the right place. And then also, it does have the agent's signature place over in the broker area. And I think I need to make a note of that because we need to have that changed with DocuSign. So agent And just so you know, this system is used all over the country. And the way that they address brokers and agents is different for the country, so they may not have realized that the agent and broker would be on different places.
One
Yes.
question about how you got to the envelope. They are a little confused. And also, if you use the autofill option, will the signatures automatically fill, or do you need to manually insert them?
So on the previous page where I had the roles, remember when I was setting up the envelope, it asked me who needs to be in the documents, and I choose the pre-tagged roles. If I pre-tagged them in the details section as the people that need to be in the transaction, it will automatically know that those pre-tagged roles go in the places on the document. So that was in the previous page. And then once, remember where I had the number 1 and the number 2? That's what tells you who's in what role, okay? And how I got to this page was when I was at the last page, there's a button on the right-hand side that said next, and that's right where the send button is. And if many of you may not be able to see that because it's on the right side of the page, and you may be, it may be hiding behind the Zoom boxes. So it's over here on the right side. Let me see if I can minimize
And can
this.
they add more than one agent?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you tag, it says, can Dawn check to see if she chose the right tag for the salesperson versus broker?
I can. I noticed that my name was written in there twice, so I may have. I have to look and see if I'm, if my profile shows me as the broker and the agent. I may have chosen the wrong one, so I need to check that. Regardless, if I needed to change this, I can just move it. Okay, so all I did was click and move. Click and drag. So this would have my signature on it. All right. The other thing that I noticed over here, sellers, landlord, sellers, agent, and this is the CIS, right? So sellers, agent, or agent and disclose dual agent or transaction broker. I can actually add a checkbox over that by clicking and dragging a checkbox. And now I can check it, or I can have the I can have Dana check it as the seller, or I can add a second checkbox, or I can get rid of them altogether. Delete.
And the question here is, can we create practice, client, and room to ourselves?
Absolutely, I would encourage it. I would definitely encourage it, and work with somebody maybe in your family or an agent that you know. And I would say create dummy accounts, and then you could tag them, please, as a sample or a test, and then use them. Get used to them between the two of you. I think that's a great idea. I'd highly encourage it. Okay. So this is how you can click and drag signatures, like if something needed to be signed over here, or if there was an initial that was necessary here, you can do that. Okay, I can go over and tell Dana if it's a required field or not. That would be important for lead paint. So many of you would have to receive a lead paint document from the listing agent when you're creating a buyer's package. And then you can upload the information. You can create a radio button, bring that over, let's say here, and then it will give you options. So now it's required, and I could add as many radio buttons as I need to. But that way, Dana or the seller or the buyer, whoever is receiving this, they would be forced to actually make this choice, and they could only choose one of the boxes or the little buttons that are here. That's important for your lead paint disclosures.
Dawn?
Yes.
We have a question that Carly would like to unmute herself and ask, and we also have a question. What is the radio button and what is its purpose?
The radio button is really a great use for the lead-based paint form where the client has to check one box or another in reference to whether they are, whether they know about lead-based paint in the house or not. That's one of the places that gets held up in compliance. What box is that? 6C, Beth?
Yes.
Yes, box 6C on your lead paint form. So yes, in the listing document, not so much, but definitely on the lead paint forms.
Section 3, A and B, and section 6, there's a box. And if you put the radio
Yeah.
buttons, then they're able to check.
Yep, so you just click and drag, okay? Carly, what did you want to ask?
I couldn't figure out how to write it. Can you hear me? Yeah.
I
okay.
can, yep.
So is there a way to create a template for ourselves that we can still fill in with the autofill? Just an example. Let's say the majority of our clients have the same things written in the contract except for the location and who the buyer and seller is. Like
Right.
we always want to put our own information, what our
Yes.
license number is, the office license number. So that way we don't have to fill out the entire thing every time. Maybe we just had to fill out
Yeah.
a quarter.
Right, so each agent has the capability of creating their own form set. Okay. Hopefully that was what you were talking about. So
Yeah,
yes, you can
tell us
create your
now.
own form set, and that would mean exactly what you're talking about. So when you were in the area where you choose the forms, once you have them all set, you can choose your own form set and then start from there. Yeah.
Can you review how to do that?
In a bit. Yeah, I'm not done with this part yet.
Okay.
Okay. So once you are done with the documents that you are requiring your client to sign, and I'm just doing, this is one of the whole package. I'm not going to do the whole package. So let's just say that I am done with this. I can actually look at the preview to see what my client is going to see. So my client, and I can preview it and what it's going to look like on a desktop, what it will look like on a tablet, and what it will look like on a phone. Okay, so let's go back to the desktop because it's easier to see. And this is what drives me crazy. It's a little fuzzy. The client would have to click start. And then once the client clicks start, they can initial, and they can initial, and they can initial. And that's all they need to do. Okay, and they would be, either I missed something or it doesn't allow you to finish. So that's just the preview. Okay, that's what your client would see. So I think it's important for you to understand what your client's going to see so that you can walk them through it. There's many that are not accustomed to something like this. So let me X this out because that was just the preview. And I'm now comfortable with what the preview looks like. I believe that all of the items are filled out. All of the signatures are in the right place. I'm done with the document, and now I just click the send button. Okay, and now I would send that out. And is Dana on the call? I don't know that Dana's on the call. If I click the send button, she's going to get this document and be really confused. So it just says send. That's all. Okay. Any other questions up to this point? And I can go back and talk about forms in a second.
No, we're up to date. Oh, wait.
Okay.
Hold on. Can you
Yep.
host as an in-person signing? Can you host an in-person signing?
I don't know yet. That's a good question. I know that was a feature that we had in .loop that some people were really clever and use that.
Now, Vincent is saying, yes, you can.
Oh, okay, good. I just haven't.
Angela's saying not now, and Vincent is saying from the app you can. Thank you, Vincent.
Is that Vincent from Bond Street?
No, Vincent Frana.
Oh, okay. There's also, this is Docusign inside of KW because there is a difference slight difference between the basic package and the KW package. So that's something that I will have to verify with my my KW Angel.
He has done it from his iPad, and he is from Monmouth Ocean.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Awesome. That's good to know. All right. So let me go back. I'm not going to send this out to Dana. And I wanted to, let's go to save and close. Okay. I'm still in the room that I created, the details and the documents and the people. The envelopes, this is, if you have created multiple envelopes, and there may be times that you have a document that you have altered, or you started creating it and you had a conversation with your client and you had to go back and alter it and you created a new envelope. If you've had many envelopes, they'll all be in this area right here. And you could go back, you see this is a draft because I didn't send it. It'll, tell me if it was sent or not. And then this is where you would be able to see any other envelopes that you sent to that client, any messages that come up, and the history of this room. We used to have the activity log, and here we have the history, okay? So that's how you create the document here. Let me also go back to my docs, because Carly had a couple of questions around the documents, and I think somebody else had a question around forms. If you look at your docs, my docs, there's personal, which once you take the forms, you can create your own personal templates by clicking add. You can add a folder, or you can add a document from your computer, your Dropbox, or your Google Drive. So let's say that, we all had this new hold harmless letter that we have received from the offices. And right now it's not in Docusign yet because there's a pathway that it has to go to get there. If you have it on your computer, you could go to your computer, and then you can actually find it somewhere on your computer. Like I have a whole coronavirus file, and I can choose the hold harmless letter. Okay, and then I'd want to just add it. Oh, the other cool thing about Docusign that we didn't have available to us in .loop was that you can add any type of document to a room. It doesn't have to be just a PDF. It could be a photo, a Word document, any other file. So that is another option that you can actually use here. So that's pretty cool. You can add everything. So let me go back to forms. The forms right here is like our version now documents, also like our filing cabinet. This is where all of our forms are going to live. And we have a direct line of communication between all of the associations, which would be all of the MLSs in New Jersey, and the New Jersey Association of Realtors. And so we have an automatic update on forms as they are updated in the association. And this is taking too long. Hold on, let me refresh this. So you'll see that when I get into the form sets, I'll show you the New Jersey Association forms, and the new hold harmless form that New Jersey Association has, and the coronavirus forms are in there as well. Hold on, I'm just trying to reboot this page. Let's go back to docs, forms. Sometimes I notice when I'm on a Zoom and running my Docusign, it does slow down quite a bit. So are there any other questions around forms, Beth, that I might be able to talk about while they're populating?
The question is, can you add from email as .loop allowed?
Mm-hmm. There is an inbox. You see the inbox right here has a little dot on it. That means that I actually emailed documents into my inbox. And let me see. Over here, you have an email address that you can actually click and copy it and email right into your inbox of Docusign. You see, I've already done that on a couple of items. You can get a fax number, and I don't know anything about that.
Dawn, just to add to that, in Dotloop, we can only attach the PDF, and I know now you said it doesn't have to be a PDF, it could be a photo or anything. There's also a lot of times verbiage that precedes the attached document. With Docusign, does it include the verbiage or only the attachment?
You mean the email,
Correct.
just the attachment?
Just the attachment. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Dawn, is there a way to go to a specific room, or is it all go to your general mailbox and then you move it from there?
Yeah, I have not noticed that we can do it specifically to the room, just like we did in Dotloop. That was a great feature that we had over in Dotloop that I used constantly. There's no inbox in here that I've noticed. There's an action. I can export a room. I can leave the room. So as of right now, and that's another thing that I would love to see them put in here, and so that they can email to the room, not just the inbox. But you can actually get the documents from your inbox into your room. Okay. I'm really hoping that I can get to the documents to show you the forms. Try this one more time. This is dragging.
Okay, Dawn, I didn't
Yeah.
know if you were going to get to it in this class, but the question on the table is, how do the Docusign forms get into command for compliance?
Okay, let's go there instead of waiting for the forms to populate. So what you have to do is go back to your command, and you can add multiple files all at once, or you can add a file here. Now, because you started the transaction in command and you connected the transaction right here, which said start transaction, and right now it says go to transaction, it automatically links the two. So in order to attach multiple files, you just click here, and I'm going to choose Docusign. And now remember, the only documents that go in this section are the compliant documents. Okay, so once you have the active MLS printout, you have the listing agreement, and you choose the listing agreement. Then if you did the CIS, you can do that. Trust me, I'm just choosing whatever I can find to just show you what happens. So you choose whatever documents are in that room, and then you attach, and you'll see it populating. Oh, there's an error here. I can add one at a time, and I can choose a different form. Let's say it was this one. Okay, so now this is all set to go. And I would just click the button, Submit to MC, Market Center. It makes it a lot easier now, compliance, which is Beth and Hope at West Monmouth, and your other compliance coordinators all around the Demoro team, they only need to look at the compliant document once it is fully signed and ready to go. And then, so you just click that button. You can add comments, and you'll see that there's comments that go back and forth between Hope and Beth and or your compliance department. And there's also a way, once you have a document in here that's rejected, then you'll see that there's a note next to the document itself. Okay, there's also a button over here that if once you're done with the entire transaction, you can export all the selected documents, and you can actually create, let me get rid of these two. You can create a zip file, and then if it had to be password protected, some states do, you could actually send them in a zip file right to your client after everything's completed, or just put it in your Google Drive if that's something you wanted to do. All right. Let me go back over to Docusign. Okay, this is what I've been trying to show you. Right here, there's all folders. And if I wanted only the libraries, these are all the libraries from the associations, as well as the custom forms for each market center. If you're attached to one market center, you'll only see that market center, and as well as the New Jersey forms. Okay, so you'll see there's 21 New Jersey forms, and they did actually put the new, oh, that's NJMLS, I'm sorry. New Jersey Association of Realtors has the new coronavirus addendum. Here's a hold, harmless, and release, and here's the coronavirus addendums. They're both in there for you to use, okay? I've been working on creating form sets, so let me go to the groups. And Carly had asked about form sets. I created some for the entire office, and each agent can create their own personal ones. So if I represent the seller, I go to the listing and I just go to these form sets. And these are the ones that you'll likely need for a selling agent or as a listing agent. Okay. So I created those already. And then also I put all the addendums in one place so that you don't have to go through all the addendums in the listing packet to choose what you want. So they are separate, and just go and get them as you need them. Okay.
So Dawn, the question on the table is if you belong to different MLS forms, will it appear for each MLS you belong to?
Yeah, it's not necessarily just where you belong. It's where the office belongs. So you'll see that in here we have Bright MLS, CJ MLS, Garden State MLS, Hudson County MLS, Middlesex County, Monmouth Ocean, New Jersey MLS. They're all in there. It's specific to your market center.
And we have some dot loop questions, so whenever you're ready for them.
Dot loop questions. Okay, hold on. So let's just make sure that we have taken care of all of the Docusign questions.
Okay, let me see, one more question. Is there somewhere to put documents that are not compliant but for your own resource in Command?
Yes. Over in Command, there's a space where you can add a custom folder for, what you do is you just click here and you say additional docs. You just create the folder, and then you can add a document from wherever you like. Okay, you can say it's an addendum, and I can get it manually from my own desktop. Okay, and then upload it. That's that. Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention in Command, there may be agents that have multiple offers. There may be agents that have rentals with multiple weeks of renting, or you have a recurring rental year over year. And because Command is client specific, you create the opportunity based on your client, and it's a listing. And then once you have another contract, let's say another rental, then you add underneath this little arrow, you add a version. Okay, so this would be rental number 2. And then once you create that version, it will bring in all the templates just like the other one did. And then you can toggle back and forth between the under contract, that would be the first one, and the rental number 2. Okay. So you have the ability to do that.
Couple more questions.
Yeah.
We'll just go one by one. What is the process replacing the green sheets?
Okay, that's another class.
It's a whole other class.
Yeah, it's a whole other class. Basically, as you're building your information in the system, it's pulling that data along the way. So as you have a listing, you've entered the information from the listing, and I could show you, you select from the KWLS, and then you have an offer. You add the offer, and once you select an offer, it will unlock the commission side, this section right here. We'll be doing more about the commissions later. My goal right now is to make sure that everybody knows how to add documents, use Docusign, and submit their documents through Command.
Next question. Docusign is asking me for the name of my first pet. I've never answered these questions. How do I reset?
At some level, you may have signed a Docusign form somewhere in your lifetime, and it may have asked you. I've had a couple people ask me about their mother's maiden name and that kind of stuff, but you can guess at it or ask for a new question. if you're really having trouble, send me an email, dawnnox@kw.com, and we'll escalate that to the Angels. They've been helping me out with a couple other agents.
Next question. Can the compliance officer go to our rooms for docs, or they have to be in command for review?
They have to be in command for review. They cannot go to your rooms for docs. So just to give you an idea, your compliance department has a section Command MC, and they have to go to opportunities. And once you hit that submit button, it's going to come in here to compliance requests. And you'll see this makes Hope's heart skip a beat when she sees the numbers go up, because she knows she has work to do. So this is how the office actually receives your documents, and you have to submit them to compliance. Okay, let me go back over to my command. Any other questions about that?
Just the timing, the compliance timing is the same, you know, when you're out of attorney review and you're under contract.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Within 2 weeks, we'd like you to submit for compliance. So somebody had a previous account in Docusign and they have no access. Has that glitch been corrected?
There has been a few glitches with people that have previous accounts. The one thing that we've learned is that when you're setting up your account through command, you really need to use your @KW email address and go to your @KW Gmail account in order to complete the authorization. So if you have tried that and still have no success, again, email me, dawnnox@kw.com, and I'll look at that. I've helped a few people. What I do is get on Zoom again, and then I've been able to get their account activated. But make sure that you use your @KW email address.
Okay, the questions about timing of .loop June 1st. There is no fee to look at your historical data in .loop. The $29 monthly fee would be if you choose to use .loop instead of Docusign, and you would still need to move your documents into command for compliance purposes.
Correct.
It says here, by June 1st, do we have to move our loops into Docusign, or will we still have access to remaining listings and transactions?
You will still have access to all of your remaining listings and transactions in .loop after the June 1st deadline. What you won't be able to do is create a new loop. You will not be able to access the version now documents. So that's why we're really focusing on Docusign now. It is your free version. It's the version that's included in your $25 a month or your tech fees. If you choose to use .loop, and just because you like it better and you don't mind paying an extra $30 a month, you do still have to get your documents into command for compliance. I hope that answered the question.
That's all the questions we have on the board that I'm aware of.
Wow,
I don't know if
cool.
anybody has anything else.
Cool. Was this good for you guys? Was this helpful?
Very helpful, Dawn.
Thank you, Angela. Or is that Darlene?
It was Darlene.
Thanks, Darlene.
It was really helpful. I see one other question here. Oh wait, can you just redo it? I was just looking at it. It was Gabriella. We're on different floors right now, so I've been trying to monitor hers as well. About the MC, just submit, that's the difference. If you hit submit, that's when it automatically goes to compliance.
Yeah. So if I were to submit this, all it says is, are you sure you want to submit this review? Avoid delay in approval by ensuring that all attached documents are accurate, and contact your market center if you have any questions. And then you just hit submit. It's just as easy. Those of you who have been with us for many years before .loop came along 2.5 years ago, you're used to putting all of your papers into a folder, right? Making sure that you have all the things and the check boxes on the folder itself, wrapping it up and driving it to the office so that Beth could actually review the folder. So now save you just have to save all that gas and hit the submit button. That's all you need to do.
Great, thank you. Now, the dot loop, I know you said we still have access. Does that stop after a certain point for compliance if we need to go in and look at things from years ago, whatever? I don't know what the case might be. You never know.
You have
But do we have-
access to all of your old history
Forever?
forever.
Wow, okay, cool. So there's no reason to put that into command for any reason then, as long as we
No,
have
no.
access
What
to it.
we're suggesting is start now with your new transactions. Get your
Okay.
new transactions into the system. It's you know, the beginning of the second quarter. It's a great time to just get your active transactions and your active listings into the command system and just start fresh from here.
Great. All right, great. Thank you.
But
Very
one
helpful,
more
both of you.
question.
Yeah.
Will we be able to add other docs and emails into the rooms?
Docs and emails into the rooms. Yes, once you create a room, you have a lot of flexibility to add all kinds of documents. So if I go into this room again, and let's say that I forgot the lead paint or I forgot something, I go to documents, the document section, and I add. And again, I can add it from anywhere. So if I received a document from my seller, let's say, how many of you may have a seller that needs to fill out the seller's disclosure but doesn't want to do it online? They then print it, fill it out, and then they scan it back to you. You may have received it in your email, and at this point right now, you could either put it into your Google Drive or download it to your computer and then upload it from here. And then you can grab it off of one of your documents. Okay, and then just open that up. You can also add another document from Docusign Forms. I don't know why this takes so long today. It always acts different when we're on the Zoom call. You
All right,
saw-
so the question on the table about adding the docs and the emails, they're referring to letters from attorneys, inspection reports, etc.
Yeah, so you can actually email them into your room, into your inbox. And then from your inbox, let me see. Document actions. I can rename split. I can move it right here. I can move this to a destination, to an active room. And then I find the room and move, just like that.
What was the first keystroke with that, Dawn?
So the first thing, I'm in the inbox. This is where my my inbox is for my email. I go to the document. I click document actions.
And then move. Okay.
And move. Yep. Oh, the other thing I wanted to show you here. The other thing you can do is fax right from here too. I just had I had to submit my tax return, and they asked me if I could fax it. God help me. So just in the communication chain, I actually faxed it from Dotloop, but Docusign also has a fax button. Hardly ever use fax, but once in a while it's necessary. Okay, so yeah, document actions, move, select a destination, and then move it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. All right.
And again, a question about Marty Miller. All of this information is done on a 66-day challenge. So the videos are short, and then everything that Dawn went over today is gone over in those videos also.
Mm-hmm. The Marty Miller videos are excellent. Just to recap what Beth said, it really did break everything down. That's where I learned a lot of this. And then I've just been playing around and testing it out so that I could get this out to all of you. So you'll see this is, and I want you to realize that even though that DocuSign here has a review in a closed area, this is not where your compliance is going to be. Make sure you get your compliant documents into your command system, okay? Helpful?
Definitely. Very
Yeah.
good. It worked
Awesome.
out really good with Beth handling the questions on the side.
Yeah,
that way you
it
stayed on
certainly
track.
helped me
It was
on this side.
Yeah. Worked out great, guys.
All right.
Thank you. Good
All
job.
right. We had about a little over 40 people, or I think it was close to 50 on the call, and then about 97 comments in the chat. So I appreciate Beth for taking care of those
course.
chats. And
My pleasure.
yeah, absolutely. So it was really great to have all of you guys here, and we'll be available in the future for more Command and Docusign. I'm working with Sean to get the calendar ready for next week, and I'll be making sure that I'm going to add extra classes, not only at 1 o'clock twice a week, but we may end up adding an afternoon class or later on in the day. So look for that too. Thank you.
One
Yeah.
more question. Somebody is sending all of their transactions into Dotloop, from Dotloop to Docusign. Is this necessary?
Not
I know we've already
necessary.
touched on this, but
It's not really necessary unless that's where you want them to live. You can really start fresh from today. But if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to make sure that all of 2020 was in there, you could import your documents in. The way you would do that is the import button. And Dotloop only allows you to import, I believe, 25 loops at a time. It pulls over the details, and then when I first tested it out, it did not add the documents automatically, and then somebody else told me it did later on, so you could test that out later.
so if someone has under contracts right now, would they be moving them into Command? I would say yes to that.
I would say yes to under contracts, yes. Yeah. And as a tip, from Dotloop to Docusign or Dotloop to Command, my tip for you is to download them first on your computer and then upload them into Command, because it gets messier if you try to do it a different way. And remember, please remember, no matter where you do your documents, I don't know whose dog is barking.
Not mine. I don't have one.
Okay.
No,
So
I
if someone
somehow
could.
I totally lost the screen. I can't see the mute. I can't even see you guys. I'm hitting every tab trying to get back in.
Okay, if you could, I'll just finish up.
Go ahead, sorry.
Let me just mute everybody again. And then Beth, if you need to speak, you might need to unmute yourself. The one thing that's really important that you need to know is the pathway that you connect Command and Docusign. You have to start your opportunity first, and then click the transaction button will take you to Docusign. You can also go to Dotloop, but the pathway is Command and then your email platform. If you do it the opposite way, it won't connect properly. Okay. So that's that. I did have to mute everybody.
That's it for questions. I don't have any more.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So thank you everybody so much. It's already 2:15. I hope this was helpful, and this has been recorded. Yeah, it has been recorded. And the recording takes a little bit to get back onto Facebook, so it'll be there later on today. And thanks you all for participating.
Hey, Dawn,
and
one more
great
quick
questions.
question. So
Yes.
you just can't go into Docusign is the question?
You can, however, to get your documents into Command, it will be more difficult to do so. It doesn't connect properly if you start in Docusign first.
Good question.
Good question. Yes. Start with Command first, create the opportunity, and then click Create Transaction. That will open up your Docusign. Once you've created the transaction and it created a room for you in Docusign, you can go to Docusign directly. I generally have Docusign open as a separate tab. But to do it properly, Command to Docusign.
Okay, perfect, she said.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Stay well.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate the participation. Have a great day.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.